feel like this is a hot topic on the TikTok. Should you buy your car, lease your car, or pay cash for your car? By the way, top 1%er, welcome again. I want to hear your answer.
This is actually a really hot topic on the TikTok
Yeah,
channel.
it
I don't know
is.
why.
Yeah.
So I've covered this a couple of times and it fires people up. Okay. But to answer your question, should I buy, should I lease, or should I pay cash for my cars? Uh, my answer to that question is always going to be this, which isn't the answer anybody wants. You should always buy an asset first that cash flows, that pays for your liabilities. Okay. So ultimately, the goal isn't to use your earned income to pay for your car, right? Like I make my Friday paycheck, that paycheck pays for my car, right? Like that's not what your car, that's not how you should be paying for a liability. Any of your liabilities, you should take that hard-earned income to pay for an asset,
Yeah.
a rental property that cash flows. If it cash flows $500 a month, now I have $500 of almost free money because my money's still sitting in that asset. $500, I can go buy a car now. That asset will forever pay for that car. The more assets you buy, the nicer the car you can get, right? And that's how I've always justified the cars that I drive. So right now,
So hold on before you go into that.
okay,
What if I don't have what? Okay, so we have two scenarios here,
there's a lot of scenarios
right?
there.
So let's just yeah, there's 100 of them, right? But
Yeah.
let's just let me give you this scenario. I have a Honda and it's 5 years old. I
Mhm.
want a new car really bad.
Yeah.
I don't have an asset to pay for that car.
So level one,
What
okay,
do I do?
boss level number one, you need to learn how to increase your income first,
Okay.
right? So that should be your
Okay.
first investment. Your first idea should be, how do I increase my income so I have enough money to buy an asset, right? It shouldn't be how can I increase my income so I can buy or lease a nicer car? That's not the goal of increasing your income, okay? So figure out how to increase your income. That's the number one return on investment you could ever get. Invest in yourself, learn a skill, develop a skill, and figure out how to increase your income, okay? Number two, once you've learned to increase your income, you're now making professional income. You're making $75,000, $100,000, $250,000. Now we can buy assets, right? Now we are living below our means, which means our expenses are less than the money we're making. That doesn't mean we're going and increasing our expenses. This means we now have more money on the side. Let's go buy an asset. Let's go put 20 grand down on an asset that cash flows every month. And now let's have our cars paid for by that cash flow. You're still driving normal cars. When I was at this point in my career, I was driving an F-150 and my wife was driving a Ford Explorer. We weren't driving what we're driving right now, okay? My vehicles and my mortgage got nicer and bigger as my assets grew and as my cash flow grew, right? And so the next phase, boss level number two, is now I got the income. Let's go buy our first asset that's cash flowing, right? Once that asset's cash flowing and putting in money, don't go and buy nicer cars right away. Let's use that cash flow to build up more savings so we can go buy a second asset. Now, once we have these assets coming in, now we go purchase our vehicles. Okay, we go buy our vehicles. So that's answer number one on really the order that this should be done, which I think you guys can take to heart and learn. But we got to answer the question: should I buy or lease now? I have the asset; it's bringing in $1,000 a month. I want to go get a nice car. Should I lease it or should I buy it? Right? I feel like the answer to this one can go 100 different directions too. But number one, I feel like everybody should have a business, should have an LLC, right? A big part of your income is understanding not only how to make money, but how to keep the money you make. And your largest expense in life is your taxes, is your taxable income, the money that you owe to the IRS. And if you are just an employee, you are in the highest taxable bracket that you could possibly be in. You pay more money in taxes as lower income, middle class than anybody else in the country because you have not established yourself as a business. That's your fault. You need to learn how to establish a business and create an LLC. Once you learn how to have a side hustle or a side business,
Or that real estate asset that they have should be in an
in an
LLC.
LLC, yes, correct. So you can put your assets in an LLC, establish an LLC for $300, right? And now I am a business. I'm a business owner. I have an LLC. Because I have an LLC now, I can do things with these vehicles that the IRS actually incentivizes me to do. I can go lease a car, okay, and if I can get a great lease payment, if I'm buying a sports car, if I'm buying a Lexus SUV or a Mercedes, okay, I want to get the nice car, the BMW,
Under 6,000
under 6,000
pounds.
pounds, I can now lease that vehicle and get the lowest payment possible on this vehicle. And I can actually write off that payment under my LLC. I can write it off up to $18,000, which should be your whole payment for the whole year, right? You can write off the entire expense for the whole year under your business, which is crazy, right? That this is now a tax deduction and lowering my taxable income. If you're buying a vehicle that's over 6,000 pounds, we're talking a large SUV, and we're talking gross weight, not just empty. We're talking with fully loaded, 6 bodies in the car, or a truckload bed, whatever it is, over 6,000 pounds. You can now depreciate the entire asset through Section 178 through bonus depreciation. So you can actually deduct 100% of that vehicle's expense in 1 year's worth of your taxable income. So if your taxable income is 100 grand and you go and buy a $75,000 truck, you can now show the IRS that I deducted $75,000 off my taxes. Now my taxable income is only $25,000. You pay probably nothing in taxes that year because you bought a vehicle, right? And you're going to use that business or that vehicle for over 50% of business uses, right?
Yep.
So if it's over 6,000 pounds, I would always recommend exploring that option. Have an LLC and expense the entire vehicle to lower your taxable income. And if it's under 6,000 pounds, it's a sports car, it's a luxury car, I would always lean towards leasing because it is a depreciating asset. Like at the end of the day, when you turn the keys back in, it's lost value. So you might as well minimize that expense as much as you can and not pay more interest than you need to pay because you finance it, and get the lowest payment possible, which is through a lease, right? And
Yeah,
then at the end of the day, you turn it in and you're not upside down.
plus, who keeps a car longer than 3 years anyways?
Nobody
now?
does. You're
Nobody.
going to always have a car payment. It's not like our mom and dads did where you buy a car and you drive it to the wheels fall off,
No.
right?
No.
You're going to keep your car for 3 years and then you're going to get a new car. Most people drive it for 3 years and then they turn it in and you're $8,000 upside down in it, right? So not only that, but you have to negatively finance $8,000 into your next car, and that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. If you lease, here's the keys, give me a new car, and you're not negative on that. And you paid a lesser payment, you had a smaller payment the entire time you're driving it. So my answer, in short, if you're going to lease or buy, if it's a sports car or sedan, look at lease options, and you can usually get a lower payment and not be upside down when you turn it in. And then if it's over 6,000 pounds, make sure both of these situations you have an LLC and you can depreciate the entire vehicle and lower your taxable income. Obviously, we're not certified CPAs, so talk to your tax advisor, right? We're not giving tax advice on here,
Put that plug in.
but yeah, for sure. And so make sure you talk to your tax advisor and understand the rules and things that you have to do with this properly. But this is what we do, and it works, and it always minimizes my taxable income because I'm a business owner and I'm an active investor, which lowers my taxable income.
Well said.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Tune in for next time. We'll give you more nuggets like this.